Hello, fellow bibliophiles. I'm Lex. This is Uncle Buck, and we are now opening the 37th box of Uncle Buck's books. This one is labeled History Books, so we shall see what we got. So, not all of it's history, though. Here's Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. Excellent. Never actually read him, but I once bibliomanced him, and he said, I have little use for the past. And I was like, yeah, bingo, I've always thought that. Anyway, this is History of Energy Transference by Willi Schroeter, exploring the foundations of modern healing. Put that here in the spirituality section. Here we go. The American Presidency by Clinton Rossitier. History of the Mongols by Bertold Spuler. Interesting. The Peculiar Institution, Slavery in the Antebellum South by Kenneth Stamp. Okay, I'll put that on the take upstairs and read pile. Harold Nicholson on the Congress of Vienna. Man, that's a great illustration on the cover. Yeah, it doesn't say who did it. The Awful End of Prince William the Silent, the first assassination of a head of state with a handgun. Fascinating. Some of these I wish I could just order like a 5-minute TikTok summary of it. Volgens, The New Science of Politics. What a guy. Who's the guy who studies politics? All right. Runersmans, The Medieval Manichae, a study of the Christian dualist heresy. Spirituality. The Philosophy and Policies of Woodrow Wilson. Wasn't he, if I remember correctly, was the complete asshole who completely just kicked black people out of public service. Cost like tens of thousands of jobs. And now Princeton has to there's a big protest about them taking his name off of stuff. They're proud of him because he's the president, but he was really so backwards for his time on that. He wasn't a man of his time with that. Most of the people saw that as reprehensible. Anyway, Hayek's The Road to Serfdom. He's a great political philosophy thinker. This is a sweet one. Oliver Sacks, Musicophilia. I haven't read this one, but Sacks on Music and the Brain. I just think he's one of the best writers ever to live. James Gleick's Isaac Newton. Gleick is one of the most gifted science writers of our time. His book on chaos, I think, is one of the best science books you can read. So him on Newton, that sounds great. It's not even a big book. Put that on the upstairs history pile. Patriots and Liberators, Revolution in the Netherlands. My People. By Shamma, 1780 to 1813. A novel, The Misfortune of Marion Palm, Emily Cullerton. I don't know, there's not much time for novels these days. Which is funny, it's all my father reads at this point. He switched away from nonfiction because all the truth is in fiction. So, it's good thinking. The Year Our World Began, 1919. The end of World War I. Interesting. Vogelin's again, From Enlightenment to Revolution. Galbraith, The Anatomy of Power. It's a classic. Kelm Wilber's A Brief History of Everything. He was a big spiritual thinker. He died not too long ago in Boulder, where my first kid was born. And this is a famous book. I've not read. Inanna, Queen of Heaven and Earth. Her Stories and Hymns from Sumer by Diane Waldstein and Samuel Kramer. Well, that looks great. And show that to the wife first thing. Mars and Minerva, World War I and the Uses of Higher Learning in America. Oh man, what is that? That's my World War I pile. I spent a lot of time on World War I. It's kind of a pause now. It's a little too depressing, but I do want to get back into it. I also want to make a video about World War I and all the books on it. Revolutionaries by Hobson. The Forms of Violence, Narrative in Assyrian Art and Modern Culture. Oh, that looks fascinating. Upstairs. Milton's Paradise Lost. That's cool. Though, for a classic like that, I always look for the best translation with a good, intro. These days, it's too important. Democracy in America by de Tocqueville. I love this book. I gush and gush about this book. It's one of the early like classics where I really just got what writing could be. This is one of the most fascinating things ever done. Just wandered around the U.S. From the French perspective and wrote about democracy. It's fascinating. It's so good. It describes what Americans are to a T still, and it's like getting close to 200 years old. It's so insightful. Anyway, Bernard Lewis, The Crisis of Islam, Holy War and Unholy Terror. He is a great historian. Europe in the Last Age of Imperialism, 1880 to 1940. That looks really good. Oh, look, it's all, somebody marked it all up and put pictures. I'll put that up there. It's good to have my kids' stuff to Bibliomance on history. They're getting to the point, like, they go through, like, primer books. Like, you know, I'm probably not going to go through this Spirits and Spirit World in this series, but it's great for my kids to look through it. Just kind of, like, get basic ideas about different stuff. Anyway, early Arizona, prehistory Civil War. Michael and the Two-Horned Beast, the challenge of evil today in the light of Rudolf Steiner's Science of the Spirit. That's interesting. Good old Steiner. All right. Concept in American History, just a regular textbook. Raby, a scientist and citizen. A dean of American physics. Science book. Let's start a science pile right here. The Social History of the Machine Gun. Oh, wow. With lots of pictures. Oh, man, that looks good. Yeah, because that is going to be drone warfare. That is oh, good, a double. Legacy of Ashes, A History of the CIA. This is absolutely one of the best books you can read on how terrible the CIA is. Because it's mostly, they're bad bureaucrats. It's mismanagement. It's just a poorly run agency, even among spy agencies. And it was known that way since, like, the 50s. So, anyway, this is a great book, and now it's on my giveaway pile. Reflections on History by Burckhardt. I don't know this, but he's a very good thinker. Let's put that there. What If? The World's Foremost Military Historians Imagine What Might Have Been. Essays by different people. You know, this I would check out because it's really good historians like Ambrose and McCulloch and people like that. And it's like them putting forth how pivotal a time in history was. That would be at least worth seeing who they're talking about. And books of essays are always good. It's all these short little lessons, like the best of someone's ideas in a blog post kind of thing. Collections of essay books on certain topics are often the best way to get into a field of science. Okay. The Astronomical Revolution by Corey, Copernicus, Kepler, and Borelli. That's good. I just finished that excellent one that I really liked. Bruce Lancaster, The American Revolution. Summary book. Sometimes just the titles get you. The Invention of the American Political Parties, A Study of Political Improvisation by a Pulitzer Prize-winning historian. That sounds fascinating. Probably will never get to that, but it sounds fascinating. Randall, Thomas Jefferson's A Life. This is supposed to be a good bio, but I don't care about that. Slave-owning motherfucker. Western Europe in the Middle Ages. I love the Middle Ages. A Short History by Strayer at Princeton. The American Earthquake, a documentary of the Jazz Age, the Great Depression, and the New Deal by Edmund Wilson. First, these kind of books, as like a journalist, historian, like anecdotes from the people, point to list. Collections of documentary collections like this is just a bunch of people talking about their lives, just like a few pages, a few paragraphs at a time. Studs Terkel is amazing at this in the American Depression, but you get to hear and my collection about the World War I documentary of what people were saying. It's just such a great way to get into time and get the timeline of what something was like and what it felt like to live through. And so this is about America in the 20s and 30s. Wow, which is just such a fascinating time. And it's like, that is Mark my words, I'll say it here on this video that nobody's going to see, but if there's anything coming, it is the 20s leading to the 30s, into the wars again. Like, we're in the roaring 20s. I mean, everybody says it, but it's why I smell a version of World War One around the corner. So, yeah. The American earthquake. Fascinating. Okay. The Present Age, Progress and Anarchy in Modern America by Nisbet. Another good historian. Oh, Robert Graves. A vivid evocation of an ancient Mediterranean world, a novel of a princess and a kingdom in the legendary days of Odysseus, Homer's daughter. Oh, that's good. Good old Robert Graves. He was just like the great poet imaginer of myth and where we come from. I mean, he's worth reading. All right. White Medieval Technology and Social Change. Love that stuff. A Penguin of Aristotle's The Art of Rhetoric. This is in the giveaway pile. I have that. Another edition. Land and Power in Hawaii. George Cooper, Gavin Dawes. I don't quite know what to do with these because Uncle Buck lived in Hawaii, and so there's a bunch of stuff about Hawaii, but like Hawaii is not exactly a main area of study for me. So I'm interested. So, but thanks, Uncle Buck. You really this is an amazing collection. You're good at what you do, and I appreciate it. And all these books and live on through all these lovely people here and me. Esotericism of the Popol Vuh, The Sacred History. Rachel Girard. Okay, awesome. I just he had a great copy of Popol Vuh. I'm going to put by my bed. I'm going to start. I've been reading the Mahabharata before bed, but I just finished the second volume, and now I'm going to switch to a couple different holy books and read one page of each of them at a time. If you read one page a night, at least, of something, you can get through it in like a year or so. So I'm going to try to get through a couple of different holy books at the same time. Anyway, The Politicos by Matthew Josephson, a lively history of the parties and great party leaders to dominate American politics during the turbulent years of the robber barons. Oh my God, wouldn't that be? It's a big fat book. It's a lively history of the robber barons. Oh my God, that does sound great. There's so many books. When am I going to get to that? When does that really make sense for me to study? Like, that looks fascinating. But, so much of it's knowing that it exists. And I'll start filing this stuff and working at it. And, I look at these books and remember an idea. And I pass some of them on through the book boxes here in Bordeaux. Doing what I can to honor these books. I've got a bunch more boxes that open still. This basement. Fuck. It's a hell of a legacy. Thanks. Wedgwood, The 30 Years' War. That would be interesting. I don't know anything about the 30 Years' War, and it's so influential. 1618 to 1648. Just the start of the modern era. Steiner's The Fifth Gospel. Origins of the Medieval World by Bark. I'll put that in the short history to read pile. A study of history, a abridgment of volumes, 7 through 9 by Toynbee. Oh man, so it's a big summary of Toynbee. That's great. I love Toynbee. I have some of his stuff upstairs, but he has his 10. So this is a summary from his 10-volume analysis of the last third of it. He's so great. He's so great. Actually, I should see what he has to say about the modern era. That gets us up through the modern times. What does Toynbee say about recent history? I mean, it's cool. He really a super normal experience. He studied a battle so well and so long that eventually he was there at the battle site. And this mysterious part of the battle that historians have never been figure out why it unfolded this way. And he sat there and he saw back through history, it felt like to him, to the solution of why that happened. It's cool to see you're calling that becoming something, spiritual and otherworldly. So I know Toynbee seems really cool. He's going to be the historian to study if you're going to read any historian. Utilitarianism, For and Against by Smart and Williams. Cantor's In the Wake of the Plague, The Black Death and the World It Made. That does sound interesting. Borstein's Hidden History, Exploring Our Secret Past. Awesome. Borstein's really good. What do I have upstairs by him that's just fantastic? Okay, put down the short history list. The Autobiography of Edward Gibbon. this is what I want to read. I don't have time to read his history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. Like, and I've heard enough about what it was, but like, so I always hear about like the summaries of that like massive influential history book, but to read his autobiography, because he was apparently a weird guy. He, you know, you have to be to write a book like that. It was his version of Rome's fall that like reflected his strangeness as a character and passionate guy. Yeah, and you know he was around all these amazing figures of his day too, from in the late like 1780s in London. Knew Samuel Johnson and people like that. Like, kidding. Yeah. So wow, that's really good. Yeah, put that on the short pile. Borstein, The Americans: A Colonial Experience. Yes, this is the book I have upstairs that I'm reading by him, I think. No, it's a different one. Discoverers. I mean, Discoverers. That's what it is. But yeah, good old Borstein. He's definitely an amazing history writer. And then finally, Francis and Joseph Guise, Cathedral, Forge, and the Water Wheel, Technology and Invention in the Middle Ages. It definitely, I'm going to put this on the short list because this is the great stuff to study. If you want to think about what AI and robots are going to do, think about like this medieval technology and how much it transformed society. And allowed cities to grow, and like everything shifted. This was one of those shifts, and like it's gonna be something where there's clues about where all this is going. So yeah, put that on the short list, and that was the last one. All right, well, that went pretty well. Thanks, Uncle Buck. And yeah, a little bit of mold in the corner of the boxes. That's why I gotta start rushing and doing more of these. Keep these books safe. All right, thanks, Uncle Buck. Thanks to all of you for watching, and yeah. We'll open some more books.